Hey everybody, Taylor here from Ciao Bella Sewing. I hope you guys are doing well and having a great day so far. I'm super excited because today I'm going to show you how to make this adorable Halloween trick-or-treat bag. And if you want to make this at home, we are selling this as a sewing kit and you can purchase yours today at ciaobellasewing.com and we will send you in the mail all the pieces that you need to make this adorable Halloween trick-or-treat bag. Now, let's get started so you can learn how to make this awesome project. Here are the supplies you are going to need to make your Halloween trick-or-treat bag. You are going to need your Singer sewing machine. You are going to need a pair of scissors, a tape measure, thread, preferably in colors black and white. You will need fabric. I am using candy corn fabric and solid black fabric. I'm also using the same candy corn fabric for my straps. And I already used my felt to cut out an adorable candy corn. You are going to need a hot glue gun, pins, and Pom Poms. I highly recommend adding Pom Poms to the top of your Halloween trick-or-treat bag for a little something extra. Okay, we're gonna get started by pinning our fabric. So as you guys probably already know, whenever we sew, we wanna sew with the right sides of the fabric touching each other. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my candy corn fabric. I'm going to take one piece and make it facing the ceiling. And then I'm going to take the other piece and I'm just going to lay it on top just like this, trying to line up my edges as best as I can. This way the right sides of the fabric are now touching each other. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually just going to pin 3 of the 4 sides of this Halloween trick-or-treat bag, and I'm going to make sure to leave the very top open without pins. So here I am just adding my pins. About 3 or 4 pins per side, that's all you really need. Just something to hold the fabric layers together and in place when you go to sew. Okay, this is looking great. And you guys may notice over here, off to the side, I already have my black piece of fabric completed and pinned. So this is what your black pieces of fabric should look like. Again, 3 of the 4 sides are pinned, and you're going to go ahead and leave that top open, unpinned. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to sew up the sides of the fabric that we just pinned. So for the black piece of fabric, we're going to sew 3 of the 4 sides. And for the candy corn fabric, we're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing. We're going to sew 3 of the 4 sides, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to start sewing to the right of the opening, so to the right of the top of the fabric. Make sure to line up your fabric with that 5/8 seam allowance. Let's get sewing. Don't forget to reverse on your edges as well. Okay, now that we have our 2 pieces of fabric sewn up, we're going to go ahead and make this Halloween trick-or-treat bag reversible. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our black pieces of fabric and we're actually going to turn it so the right side is now going to be facing outwards. So just go ahead, flip it like this. So right now you can no longer see any of the seams on this black piece of fabric. Then your candy corn fabric will remain with the right sides together and seams showing. So what's going to happen, I actually take this black fabric that's turned right side out and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stick it into the candy corn fabric just like this. So if you guys remember from earlier, whenever we sew, we actually always want the right sides of the fabric to be touching each other. So this way, we have the right sides of the fabric now touching each other. So I kind of just give it a little bit of a shake like that so the fabric falls into one another. And now it's time to go ahead and add our straps. So I did go ahead and pre-make my straps already. So if you guys have to make them, go ahead, cut them out of the fabric, stitch them up, flip them so the pretty sides are showing again. And then what you're gonna do is you're going to take your straps and you're actually gonna sandwich them between the two layers of fabric. So I'm gonna go ahead, put the straps into the fabric just like that. And this is where your tape measure comes into play. You take your tape measure and you're actually gonna measure 6 inches from your side seams. So that is where you're going to place your straps. So you're gonna go ahead and measure right there. And I'm gonna use a pin to have it be the marker so I remember where 6 inches is. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do that to the other side. Again, using the pin trick. Okay, this is looking so cute so far. That is great. And then I'm gonna go ahead, I'm just gonna adjust my straps right there. And I'm going to line up the top layer of candy corn, my strap, and then the top layer of the black fabric together. And I'm gonna go ahead and pin it all into place, just like this. Okay, I'm gonna repeat for the same thing right over here on the right side of the fabric. So I'm gonna go ahead and pin that all in place right there. And then I'm gonna continue to go ahead and pin across the entire top. And then I'm gonna add the straps to the back piece as well, right here. And then I'm gonna sew this eventually, which is very exciting. Just continue pinning. And then again, go ahead, flip it. You're gonna add your straps to the other side as well. This time it should be much easier to add your straps because you can use the straps that you already put in place as your marker. So you don't have to measure again. Just make sure that they're all lined up. Okay, this is looking great. Again, I'm just gonna add a couple more pins and then we're gonna get to sewing. Okay, perfect. So your bag should now look something like this. You cannot see those straps anymore, okay? So they're inside the different layers of fabric and the right sides of the fabric are still touching each other. Okay, it's time to go ahead and stitch up the very top of the bag. But remember, you have to leave an opening at the very top so you can eventually go ahead and flip this bag right sides out to make it fully reversible. Now, I've already removed the bottom part of my sewing machine, so this will make it easier for me when I go to sew. I'm gonna start to sew on one of my side seams. So just go ahead and tuck this fabric into the machine. I'm gonna lower my lever. It's in line with that 5/8 seam allowance and actually about 4 inches behind my presser foot. I'm gonna go ahead and add 2 pins as my double pins. And this is going to be my reminder that I should stop sewing about 4 to 5 inches behind that seam where I'm starting. So again, I can go ahead and turn my bag right side out and make it fully reversible. Okay, now that we've sewed the entire top, except for the little hole that we left open, we're gonna go ahead and use the hole to flip our bag right side out. This is how it's going to be fully reversible. So you just put your hand inside and you go ahead and you pull the fabric out, just like I'm doing right now. So you're gonna see all the right sides of the fabric start to magically come out. So just slowly continue to turn it right side out from the opening that you left. So now you're gonna notice that you have all the right sides of the fabric facing outwards, which is what you want. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna grab the handles of the bag. This is looking so great so far. And then I'm gonna hold the handles just like this, and I'm gonna push in the black fabric into the bag. I'm gonna give it a little bit of a shake. This is looking super, super cute. And I'm gonna go ahead and push out the corners, okay? So this is something you always wanna do when you're sewing. Go ahead and push out the corners of whatever it is that you're making, especially if you're making a Halloween trick-or-treat bag. You wanna make sure that your corners are nicely pushed out to make the bag look more like a bag, just like this. So now there's a couple more things we have to do. One of which, we have to go ahead and sew this hole closed. So I'm going to quickly add some pins right here, maybe just about 3 pins to hold it in place. I'm going to pop this into my sewing machine and I'm going to sew along the edge, okay? So I'm not necessarily sewing on that 5/8 seam allowance right now, but I'm going to line up my presser foot with the edge of my fabric. This way, I can make sure that I sew that hole closed. I'm just going to put this in the machine right now. Make sure to reverse. Take your pins out as you go. Looking good. Okay, almost done here. Perfect. So now, cut any loose threads that you have from your sewing, and then you can check out your good work so far. This is looking super cute. So as you might remember, I have a candy corn that I'm actually going to hot glue onto the outside of the bag, but first I'm going to go ahead and sew my pom-poms onto the bag. As you may have noticed, I've already prepped my sewing machine with my fabric and my pom-poms. So what I like to do is go ahead and put my fabric in first. I add my pom-poms and then actually spin the wheel on the side of my sewing machine to put the needle into the fabric. So as you guys can see right here, it is holding the pom-poms in place nice and securely. Then I will go ahead and I will start to sew the pom-pom trim all the way around the very top of the bag for a little something extra. I think that adding the pom-poms will make your trick-or-treat bag look extra cute. Okay everybody, as you guys can see, I'm just finishing up hot gluing my adorable candy corn onto the bag. It is totally fine to hot glue this. So I'm just finishing this up around the edges, making sure that it's nice and secure. And here is our final product. I absolutely love this Halloween trick-or-treat bag. I hope you guys enjoy it as well. Don't forget, you guys can absolutely purchase this as a sewing kit from ChowBellaSewing.com. We will ship it to you and you can sew this amazing bag at home and get ready for Halloween.